Everyone tells you to let go. Nobody tells you how. Because let go might be the most common piece of advice in the world, and one of the least understood. People hear it and assume it means stop caring, move on, get over it. But when you talk to people who have actually done it, who have worked through grief, released a grudge, left behind a version of themselves they'd been carrying for years, they describe something very different. Not the absence of caring, but the discovery that they could hold something without gripping it. That's what this video is about. Before we go further, it helps to name what letting go is not. It's not forgetting. It's not pretending something didn't matter. And it's not the same as giving up. Giving up is a collapse. Letting go is a decision. What changes isn't what you feel. It's how you hold what you feel. The experience stays. The iron grip around it loosens. Some people describe it as the difference between holding a stone in a clenched fist and holding it in an open palm. The stone hasn't changed, but your hand is no longer hurting. And something else changes too. With an open hand, you can finally feel the weight of the stone honestly. You can decide what to do with it. The clenched fist never allowed that. This distinction matters because it means you don't have to choose between caring and letting go. The two aren't opposites. Letting go is what caring looks like when it stops being afraid. The question is, what keeps the fist clenched in the first place? Most of us grip without knowing we're doing it. We hold on to a relationship that ended. Not the person, but the version of ourselves that existed inside it. We hold on to anger at someone who wronged us, not because we want to, but because releasing it feels like saying what they did was acceptable. We hold on to an idea of how life was supposed to go and measure every day against it. The grip makes sense. It's protective. It says, if I hold this tightly enough, I won't lose it. Or, if I hold this tightly enough, it will mean something. But the cost builds slowly. The jaw tightens. The shoulders carry something they can't name. The same thoughts loop without resolving. The past takes up more and more of the present, not because it's unresolved, but because the grip keeps it close. And here's what most people don't notice until much later. The thing they're gripping is rarely the thing itself. It's a belief underneath it. If I let this go, it means it didn't matter. Or, if I let this go, I'll have nothing left. Or, if I let this go, I'm admitting it was my fault. Those beliefs are the real grip, and they are almost never true. Here is what's surprising about the grip. It isn't strength, it's fear. The people who learn to let go don't describe a moment of force, of pushing something away, or deciding to be done. They describe something quieter, a moment when they stopped fighting what they felt and allowed it to be there, without needing to change it. Some people describe this as the first time they truly sat with grief instead of managing it. Others describe it as the moment they stopped rehearsing the argument they would never have. Others still describe it as the day they looked at who they used to be and said, that was real, and it's over. And both things are true. What these moments have in common is not resolution. It's contact. The thing they had been avoiding, the sadness, the anger, the fear of what it means, was finally allowed in. And it was smaller than they expected. Not painless, but survivable. And once it was felt fully, it stopped needing to be gripped. Some people describe this moment as one of the most clarifying experiences of their lives, not because the pain went away, but because the relationship to the pain changed. It went from something they were wrestling with to something they were simply carrying. And carrying, it turned out, takes far less energy than wrestling. But there's a reason the grip holds for so long, and understanding it changes everything. Psychologists have a name for what keeps the grip in place: Experiential avoidance. It's the attempt to control, suppress, or escape internal experiences, thoughts, memories, emotions that feel too painful to tolerate. It sounds like a clinical term, but it describes something deeply ordinary. Every time you change the subject in your own mind, every time you stay busy to avoid sitting with something, every time you rehearse the future to stop feeling the present, that's experiential avoidance. Acceptance and commitment therapy. One of the most extensively studied approaches in modern psychology frames letting go not as loss, but as psychological flexibility, the ability to hold difficult experiences without being controlled by them. The grip is a form of avoidance. Letting go is a form of contact. And the difference between the two is not willpower. It's willingness. The willingness to feel what's actually there without needing to fix it, fight it, or run from it. And the research is clear. People with greater psychological flexibility consistently report lower anxiety, less depression, and a stronger sense of meaning. Not because they feel less, but because they respond to what they feel with more range. They're not tougher. They're more open. But knowing this is only the beginning. There's a practice underneath, and it starts in the body. There is a distinction that changes how letting go feels in practice, the difference between I need this outcome and I care about this. The first is a grip. It ties your well-being to something you cannot control, another person's behavior, the past being different, the future turning out a certain way. When that need isn't met, suffering follows. The second is contact. It says, this matters to me, and I can hold it without needing it to be different right now. The practice is physical before it is mental. Notice the grip, the tightness in the jaw, the shoulders, the chest. Name what you're afraid of losing. Not the situation, but the belief underneath it. And ask quietly, what would it feel like to hold this differently? Not to drop it, not to throw it away, just open your hands. It doesn't work immediately, and it doesn't work once. Letting go is not a single act. It's a practice you return to, sometimes many times in the same day. But each time you do it, the grip loosens a little more. And each time you discover something. The thing you were holding hasn't fallen. It's still there. You're just no longer being hurt by the way you were carrying it. Some people who learned this report that the thing they were gripping didn't disappear. It just stopped running their life. This video isn't an argument for letting go of things that matter. Some things deserve to be held. The question is always how. But if there's something you've been carrying, a resentment, a loss, a version of yourself that no longer fits, a picture of how things should have gone, there are questions worth sitting with. What am I actually gripping? And what belief is underneath it? What am I afraid will happen if I loosen my hold? Is the grip protecting me, or is it the thing that's hurting? These aren't easy questions, and the answers don't come all at once. But the people who sit with them long enough tend to discover the same thing, that what they were holding on to wasn't keeping them safe, it was keeping them still. And the first time they opened their hands, they didn't lose what mattered. They found they could finally reach for something new.